Hey songwriters, this is Ari Koinuma, and today in my songwriting analysis we're going to look at Red Hot Chili Peppers' Dani, California to see what kind of songwriting wisdom that we can find in this song. So as usual, I'm going to start playing the melody on my guitar here, but as you know, I mean, he kind of raps the verse section, so it's not gonna sound exactly like it, but it goes something like this. And so on and so forth. So that's how the verse goes, right? And then the melody, the chorus goes something like this. Oops. Goes something like that, but you get the picture. So what can we observe from those three sections, the verse and then the sort of the second section of the verse and then to the chorus? It starts out being highly rhythmic. I mean, he is known for his the rhythmic singing, and it doesn't have a lot of notes. It's not really melodic kind of thing, but again, rhythm is a very strong element in melody, and in this case he just kind of makes it all work with relying on pretty much nothing but the rhythm of how he phrases those lines. And then he goes into this fairly mechanical, which has more variation in terms of the pitch, and then still its primary interest is rhythm, right? And then he goes into the chorus, which is finally a melodic part. So what can we say? Well, for chorus, a lot of times it's really nice to have a melodic content, because melody is more primal, and that if you just sort of raps your way through chorus, that's not quite as likely to stick to people's head. People don't hum rap parts, for example. But notice how it transitions from being purely rhythmic part to having a little bit more, a few more pitches, but still, being somewhat rhythmic, and then going to not relying so much on rhythm and then being more melodic, and how it sort of goes from rhythm heavy to more melodic. And when you get melodic, he goes slow and doesn't rely on the melody. And slow moving melodies have sort of these big gestures that that just can sound really big, which in this song it does. So when you're writing songs, you don't always have to sort of rely on the same emphasis, same element for the melody to carry. Like in this song, some sections you might have more rhythmic melody, and other sections you might have more melodic melody. And this song is a great example of how it's used appropriately for different sections. Where verse, you want to drive it, you want to have the rhythm going, get the audience really listening, and then bring in a nice melody for the chorus. So that's something that we can incorporate into our own songwriting. Alright, next I'm gonna go into the bridge section. So the chorus is a sort of a hard-hitting A minor tonality. It doesn't have A minor in it, but that goes something like this. and so on and so forth. So notice the rest of the song is in A minor, the chorus is A minor. What key is in that bridge? It's in B minor, right? Chorus is, of course, I mean, no, what I mean is bridge is, of course, a section of the song where you want to play with the audience expectation. So you set up a certain expectation from verse to chorus and verse to chorus, and you want to have a little surprise for the bridge. And one easy way to do it is through direct transposition. You just kind of all of a sudden go to a different key, and that's what they do here. And then doing that, sometimes it gets tricky to go back to the original key in a way that makes sense. In this case, they just kind of use a 2-1 type. It's really not that graceful, but it's pretty. It works as an element of surprise. And if you want to throw a twist to a song, doing a key change is a great way to do that. So that's what they do here. Alright, so next I am going to look at how the chorus is being set up. So usually the song is in A minor, and then they stop on the D minor chord in the verse progression to set up the chorus, right? But notice in the last chorus, setting up the last chorus, they put in a little twist. So you repeat choruses and a lot of times verses too, and then again, a song is a art form where you want to set up certain expectations and then play with that expectations. So as the verses or as the song goes on, you might want to sort of set up certain patterns, and then you want to start tweaking it to sort of make the song worth listening to all the way to the end, because you don't want to keep listening to the same thing over and over and over, verse chorus exactly the same time, which you can get away with in some circles, like folk music and stuff have like tons of verses. But anyway, with rock music, you want to keep the audience interested. You want to have variations in the set expectations that you set up. Here what they do is they insert another chord, usually going from D minor and then back to what they really want to do is go back to the tonal center, but then of course the chorus starts with F, which is related to the tonal center of A minor, and that's why there's a sort of a sense of a revival there. But going from D minor, the 4 chord, to the chorus, it sets up a pretty weak sort of setup, right? And that is intentional, because in the final chorus, the setup for that goes to E, which is the 5 chord, like the strongest setup chord that you can have before going to the tonal center, which is in this case, of course, I mean, they don't really get there, but again, so what I'm trying to say is setup is important, especially when what you're setting up is chorus. And then they do a clever thing by sort of letting a weak chord set up the chorus, which is sort of not quite as nice of a build up to the chorus. But then when you set up the final chorus with a stronger chord, then you're like, whoa, I'm really waiting for that chorus, and it really builds the anticipation while playing with the audience expectation that the chorus doesn't really arrive at the time when they thought they would, and then you're just kind of holding back the audience, and then just then boom, hit it. It's like a slingshot, right? The longer you make them wait, the bigger the payoff. So that's something to keep in mind, is to have the transitions, have sort of a weak resolutions in the beginning and save the big resolution for later in the song. So Red Hot Chili Peppers, Dani, California. We talked about how the verse and the verse B part and then the chorus part all have different sort of reliance on the rhythm versus the melody, and how the song transitions from being rhythm heavy to having more melodic and then very melodic for the chorus, and how that really sets up nice contrast among different songs, different song sections. We talked about how in the bridge they changed to a completely different key, and how that creates an element of surprise. We finally talked about how the chorus is set up throughout the song, and how they save the strongest setup.
Run.